Good morning, everyone. I am your host, the Azorean One Anthony Esteves, because you're watching Sunday Coffee with the Azorean One here at Esteves Manor. Happy Sunday morning, Sunday, January 27th. Again, you can catch everything regarding the face you're looking at right now, as well as many other beautiful, fantastic talents over at thecapelesscrusaders.com. Everything you're going to need is right there at thecapelesscrusaders.com, including all of our podcasts, all of our shows, which include our flagship show, The Capeless Crusaders, which include The Dame Patrol, which include Crossover, and of course include this show here, Sunday Coffee with the Azorean One. So I want to make sure you guys knew all that. As long as if you don't do that, people forget, and you have to give them the intro or else they don't know who you are. You guys already forgot who I am. And of course, a shout out to our sponsors, those lovely, lovely sponsors who help us out. Beard Bomb Brush, who help you out when you've got something like this on your face. And if you're watching live on Twitch, you see that I'm scratching my goatee. If you're listening on the podcast app, you're just hearing a scratching sound. Could be my goatee, could be my arms, could be my... We won't go there. Beard Bomb Brush provides you with beautiful oils and brushes and combs to help tame the hairy beast on your face. And if you go there and use the promo code CAPELESS, you get 15% off your purchase. So there's that. You get that same discount when you go to our other sponsor, Critical Dice. Everything dice you need is on that site there for you. Dice itself, tables to roll your dice on, all that is there. And when you get there and use the promo code CAPELESS, you get 15% off your purchase. We're the king of 15%, guys. That's what we do. We're the royalty of it. And of course, our home, Empire Comics Vault in Sacramento, California, located 1152 Fulton Avenue, Suite K. I remembered the address. Ain't that something? I know where it is, because I drive there. But I don't pay attention to numbers and streets, I just memory. So, I remembered that time. Suite K. Attack 4 and Son of Mander in the chat. Thanks for coming in. Good morning, boys. I'm slightly getting some things ready here for you. I have a exciting topic. If you couldn't tell by the social media or by what is on my chest right now, no, not the hook, the big skull that's right there, we're going to be talking Punisher, because I finished season 2 last night. I finished it. I did. And I am excited to talk about it. I'm revved up. I'm as revved up as Frank Castle in an action scene. Oh, we're so going to talk about those action scenes. I'm just saying. We're so going to talk about those. Those of you wondering, yes, it is Sunday Coffee, which means there's breakfast being had. I have, of course, my coffee with my Marvel mug, which sadly does not have Frank Castle on it. That upsets me. And I got a cinnamon roll, a heated cinnamon roll. One of those guys. See that? Yeah. If those of you listening and not watching, it's the type of rolls you'd find at like a S-Mart or... S-Mart doesn't sponsor us, so a grocery store. How's that? Great series. Ooh, was it weighty? Oh, yeah. Quick news that has happened since my last show, as I try to avoid the beach ball on my computer at the moment. It's an old Mac. It turned 10 in November. Yeah, it's a 10-year-old MacBook Pro with the keys that lit up. Yeah, it's still going, still running Mavericks. There we go. Anyway. Nope, false alarm. Beach ball again. Too many sites open. I won't comment on the sites. Don't judge me. I feel you looking at me, Manderson. I feel you looking at me. Anyway, so of course, we have the box office for the weekend. And number one, again, it's kind of a repeat from last week, except for one film. But number one was, again, Glass. Glass took the number one spot. I'm readjusting my microphone here. Don't mind the sounds. There you go. Let's see how that works. Glass is number one again for the weekend. It took in 19 million. That brings its total, including the foreign market, to, in the domestic, 73 million. Foreign market, together, worldwide, 162 million. Cost 20 to make, so they're doing great there. Second was The Upside, the Kevin Hart, Bryan Cranston drama. That came in with 12 million, making a total of 69 million worldwide. It's made a profit. Third, of course, Aquaman made 7.3 million with a total of domestic of 316 million. It has made 1.08 billion worldwide. So I guess, yeah, that's a success. The Kid Who Would Be King opened this weekend to fourth place. Well, I mean, I saw that preview and that didn't look exciting at all. And rounding out the top five is, of course, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which has now made a total of 169 million in the US, 338 worldwide. Saw that yesterday with the family, enjoyed it immensely. The boys loved it. They would not stop thwipping. Only now is the time where they've not been thwipping. They're just now not thwipped. It's been a while. Thwipping all day long. So there's your top five. The only new movie in there is The Kid Who Would Be King. Glass and the Upside came out last week. So there's that for you. I'm gonna just quickly undo this mic because I have not taken the advice of super gluing this yet, as someone in the chat told me last week. I should have. I didn't. I'm a bad man. So I'm gonna try to reposition this because when you're sitting on a couch, things slouch. That should be better. Dave Barry loves these conversations. Moving on from your top five for the weekend, we have Oscar nominations. That's right. There were Oscar nominations. I don't think I talked about this last weekend, but I'm very excited by the Best Picture nominees, with Black Panther being in there, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Green Book, Roma, and A Star is Born, and Vice are all your nominees. Right now, if I had to choose who I think is going to win, heavy talk between Roma and Green Book. So I'm saying, I think one of those two. I do want Spike Lee to take home Best Director. He's earned it. Give it to him. So there's your Oscar Best Film nominees. We've seen three of the 5 animated films. Isle of Dogs is on HBO, so that'll be 4. Right now, I'm going for Spider-Man to win. I think it's going to happen. I'm hoping for it. We're going to watch Isle of Dogs on HBO, and then the other one is one. I don't remember the title of it. There's one more that's not available to watch on TV yet. I don't think so. I'll look for it. So, I think best film between Roma and Green Book, but I want Spike to get Best Director. Been 20 years since the snub. I think Bale takes Vice. Just looking at his performance, I think Bale's taken that. And actress, I know Gaga did really well. I don't think she's going to win it, though. I would say Glenn Close or the out of nowhere, probably Olivia Colman from The Favorite. It'd be something if the Yalitza Aparicio from Roma, if she won, that'd be something. But I think it's going to be Glenn Close or Olivia Colman taking that. Best Supporting Actress, I'm saying Regina King, just because of talk she's been getting from If Beale Street Could Talk. And I love Regina King, so I have no problem with that. And actor in a supporting role, I love Mahershala, but I think he won it 2 years ago for Moonlight for the same category. I would love it if he won, if Mahershala won. I think it's going to go to Sam Elliott for his role in A Star is Born, mainly because of how long he's been in the business and does not have an Oscar. He's one of those actors, like Jeff Bridges. I see Sam Elliott getting it because of that, because he's been such a great actor. Those of you who can't remember who Sam Elliott is, if you saw Kurt Russell's Tombstone, the Tombstone film, he was Wyatt's older brother, Virgil. He's done a mess of things. He was also in the first Incredible Hulk with Eric Bana and Jennifer Connelly. He was General Ross. So Sam's a legend. He's been the voice of, like, I think I think it's Chevy or Ford he's been the voice of. I can't remember. But he's voiced those commercials. He's got a standout voice. So I think he's going to take Best Supporting Actor because of his history in the business. So, they have that. I haven't decided on screenplays yet. I know Adam McKay's in there, and he won for The Big Short, which I love The Big Short. It's a movie I can watch over and over again, and I'm tired of it because it feels like I'm getting a history lesson that I'm really interested in, as well as a well-done film. If you haven't watched The Big Short, go watch The Big Short before you watch Vice. Yes, he was General Ross. Yeah, he was the first General Ross before Mr. Hurt took over in the MCU. So there's a few of my Oscar picks. I'll go more over them as we get closer to the Oscars. In fact, I will have a Sunday Coffee with the Azorean One on the day of the Oscars. So be ready for that show, because I'm going to go all out on that one, because I'm an Oscar nerd. I'm an award show nerd, but mainly Oscar. Boy. All right, so with that said, it's time to go to our main topic. Our main topic being that tortured soul, the embittered veteran, the man who just can't live a normal life because fate won't allow it. I'm talking about Frank Castle, the Marine who was once part of a special ops military division, who saw some things he wished he didn't, the man who lost his family, and it changed him forever. I'm talking about Frank Castle, the Punisher. That's right, we're talking about the Punisher here. As I've said before in the past, I was always a big fan of the Thomas Jane Punisher, not the movie so much, his portrayal. With that being said, at that time, I knew very little about the Punisher. It was before the Capeless Crusaders. It was before I started reading comics. It was when all I knew about superheroes was what I saw on TV or on movies. All I knew. So, as I've become more educated in that, I've learned that while I enjoyed Thomas Jane's performance, his Punisher was a little PG, even though the movie was rated R. A little PG. Didn't go the full extent that Punisher is supposed to go. Then we had that sequel, quote unquote, with Ray Winstone as him, Punisher Warzone. I wasn't feeling that. I wasn't into that whatsoever. Didn't watch bits of it, and I'm like, all right, nah, not my thing. And then we get the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and then we get the Marvel shows on Netflix, and we are introduced to the new adaptation of Frank Castle in the second season of Daredevil, portrayed by Jon Bernthal. Jon Bernthal, of course, famous for his role as Shane on The Walking Dead, has also appeared in numerous films, including Snitch with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, The Wolf of Wall Street with Leo DiCaprio, and Fury with Brad Pitt and Shia LaBeouf, which is a great film. So he's been those characters there, and we get him then as the Punisher. And right off the bat, I'm going to say that Johnny Bernthal was born to play the role of Frank Castle. He nails it. He perfected it. I still love Thomas Jane, but Thomas Jane is not Frank Castle anymore. Jon Bernthal is Frank Castle. And heavens to Betsy, is he ever? I had read a story that why do I call him Frank? John was a boxer or some sort of athlete before acting. And many have said that before taking acting has added to that attribute of being able to show pain, anger, the raw emotion of that in his character, which I could see that being true. Because you believe he's Frank Castle when you watch him. So this time around, season 2, we left off season 1 where Frank, his record has been expunged by the CIA because he knows too much and he could destroy them, so they crack a deal. He gets vengeance on Billy Russo, his former best friend turned enemy, in one of the most beautiful moments of vengeance and payback ever on screen. That finale of season 1 at the carousel, the very same place where Frank's family was killed. The way he exacted revenge on Billy without killing him. It's funny because my wife enjoys the show, but when it gets really gruesome, violent, she has to turn away. Me, on the other hand, if the gruesome violence is happening to a person that deserves it, like a character who deserves every bit of it, I take joy in watching it because I like seeing bad people get what they deserve. And when Frank Castle exacts revenge on someone who deserves it, just thumbs in the eyes and just bullets riddled and face into glass and scraping, and it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's well deserved. I love it. And that's what Frank does. So he did that to Billy, didn't kill Billy, left Billy in a comatose state, and Frank goes off to attempt to live a normal life. So season 2 picks up. Frank is roaming around the country. He's trying to avoid his past. Wait. Trying to avoid who he was. Come on, please. Boys. So, he goes off into, I believe it's Midwest. Maybe not that far, but far enough to be quite a bit away from New York. Local bar, meets a bartender. She and her strike a conversation. He does so when he stops some jerk from like copping a feel on her and grabbing her arm and everything, which he didn't get too violent on, which is fantastic because one of my gripes, I get why they happen in the stories. When you have those moments where the vigilante and the superheroes have to control themselves, and when normal everyday people get in their face and act all tough, and the hero wants to do something, but they know they shouldn't, so they don't. They do it to Daredevil, they do it to Luke Cage, they do it to Jessica Jones. I get why they don't react, and they're doing the right thing. But it always pissed me off when I hear just watching the normal everyday person think they're tougher than the hero or whoever it is. The one thing I can count on with Frank is that Frank will remind them that he's the Punisher. Frank doesn't care. Frank's not here to be a good guy. Frank's here to just, extract justice, bring revenge. So when a guy is like poking his chest 3 times, Frank grabs his hand and breaks something. Beautiful. If you want a show where the comic book character will put people in their place for being tough guy in their face, Frank is the guy for you, because Frank will remind them, don't put your finger in my chest. Don't do that. Don't ever do it again. Would you like to lose your finger? Because I'll do it. It's beautiful. Strikes up a conversation with the bartender. Things are looking great for Frank. That first half of the first episode, you look like we're getting a movie where Frank is literally turning into a drama piece, where he's found happiness. Things are great. And then this young girl walks into the bar. She seems in trouble. Frank sees a bunch of people following her, tries to see what's going on. And then he finds out that much more than he thought. They're trying to kill her. And Frank, of course, does what Frank does. He lays the vicious smackdown in that amazing bathroom fight, which then turned into a barroom fight. Just the things in the sink and through the stalls and the. So now Frank, of course, is back in it. He's back on the run. He's trying to protect this young girl who is being chased by some weird-looking fundamentalist Christian type. Rough Road, yes, Amy's nickname for him. The girl's name is Amy, Rough Road. She calls him Rough Road at the bar. By the way, Amy was played by Georgia Wingham, which I've never seen her before, but she was great in it. Billy Russo, we'll get back to him actually. Georgia Wingham, who played Amy in the show, she played off him very well throughout the entire time, I thought. So Frank's being hunted down now because he's protecting her by this Christian fundamentalist type named David, played by Ebon Moss-Bachrach, which he did a great job. Silent evil is what he was to me, just quiet evil. but he's a Christian fundamentalist type, but he's also a hired gun, and it's featuring this sect of a religious cult that also controls stuff politically and has connections to organizations. And he's the hired gun for them. And he's going after Frank and Amy. Meanwhile, while this is happening, we get insight on Billy Russo's life. And Billy Russo is trying to be talked back to health by his therapist. Billy has forgotten everything that happened in season 1. In his mind, he, Frank, and their buddy Curtis are still best friends from the Marine Corps. Still buds, still pals. He's forgotten everything that he did. He's unaware that he killed Frank's family. Unaware that he screwed everyone over to get rich. This has totally left him, he doesn't know. And his face, of course, is permanently scarred now because of what Frank did to him. Ben Barnes, who plays Billy Russo, just phenomenal job. The guy is a great villain. Well, just makes you feel his pain even though you hate him. There are moments you feel for him because you start to wonder if he's playing a game that he doesn't remember or if he actually doesn't remember. And it was extremely well done in that area. The delivery between Frank and Amy, John and Georgia, they were phenomenal together. Their charisma together was fantastic. No question there. You have the introduction of a Floriana Lima, who plays Krista Dumont, the therapist for Billy. And of course something happens there because she believes in him. She believes he can be redeemed. They're both broken people, we come to find out. Again, this is a spoiler show, so I'm not gonna spoil everything, but there's gonna be things I'm gonna tell you that if you haven't gone far enough, you're gonna be spoiled. I apologize. Maybe not everything, but quite a few. I'm trying to remember the name of the gentleman who played the leaders of the Christian cult. Yes, there he is. Corbin Burnson plays Anderson Schultz. He is the main patriarch of this Christian fundamentalist group who puts David, the hitman, into play. Corbin Burnson is a legend in television. He was one of the main characters in L.A. Law. Like, he was a prime actor in like late 80s and 90s. He was the bad boy on L.A. Law, from what I remember. What's funny about that is Corbin's gone into directing, and he's done some like Christian-themed films. He became kind of a born-again Christian after his dad died. Not extreme Kirk Cameron, born-again Christian, but born-again Christian. It's funny because I'm used to like the actors who are the born-again Christian, pro-Christianity films never take negative roles. Corbin is not that one. And this isn't the first time he's done this. Before this, he was in the show American Gods, which is totally a show that, pokes fun or critiques or satirizes the gods we created and the gods we have today. So he's one of those, so he's a Christian, but he's like, yeah, I'll play a bad Christian. Give me a paycheck, whatever, I'll play a bad Christian. And he's a bad Christian in this one. He's a very bad Christian in this one. And his wife is played by, I want to find her name. I know exactly who she is. I just want to find her name. Yes, there we go. His wife, Eliza Schultz, is played by Annette O'Toole. Those of you who have been watching superhero films as long as I have, Annette O'Toole is part of the Christopher Reeve Superman series. She was Lana, grown-up Lana in Superman 3. The one where he fights the robot machine and Richard Pryor's in there with him and he goes back to Smallville for his high school reunion. She's Lana. Annette O'Toole is the Christian fundamentalist patriarch's wife, who's also phenomenally evil. Well done by her. Those two together were fantastic, hidden evil characters, in my opinion. So, as we go on, Frank is protecting Amy while discovering that Special Agent Madani, played by Amber Rose Reva from last season, she's fantastic, she needs Frank's assistance because Billy has broken out. Billy has escaped. Billy's gone. He's roaming free on the streets. His mind is still warped. he has this nightmare of this huge skull causing him pain and the glass shattering. So when he sees this is what he's afraid of. Billy is scared to death of the Punisher skull, which I love. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Boys. He eventually finds his therapist, Dumont. She keeps him quiet, keeps him at her place, and they strike up a relationship. It's hot and heavy. Madani finds Frank, brings him to New York because she wants help taking Billy down. Now, the characters in this are so torn. Madani is torn between being the officer of the law and wanting Billy Russo dead. There's this entire conversation about how all the people that Frank has killed, and he didn't kill Billy. And his buddy Curtis, played by Jason R. Moore, the way they portrayed his vision. Yes, they did. Outstanding way they portrayed Billy Russo. Curtis, played by Jason R. Moore, brings up how Frank's whole purpose for keeping Billy alive was to make him live with what he did and live with what he looks like now, the damage that Frank did to his face. The problem is Billy can't remember any of that. So it's ironic that Frank left him alive to live with the torture, but it backfired because Billy doesn't remember any of that stuff. He thinks they're still best friends. Ironic how that the one time Frank doesn't kill, lets them live, it actually doesn't work out for him. Because Billy breaks out and Billy doesn't remember any of what he did. So there's no pain he's living with besides this scary skull in his memory and what he's supposed to be. Eventually, of course, things come to a head in New York City. Frank and Curtis are trying to kill Billy because they want to end him. They want to end him once and for all. Madonna is torn about it because of the whole law revenge thing. Yes. And of course, you got the hitman, David, coming after Frank and Amy. As you just brought up in the chat, what I love about the Punisher series is not just that it's an action vengeance series with a very engaging main character. It's the way they portray... One moment, please. Go sit down. Sit down. The way they portray their broken characters. Sit down. PTSD plays a part for our characters. For Frank, it's not something they just gloss over. It's something that plays a part in what is happening to them. It's a central focus aside from, the main story of it. Oh God, yes. So multifaceted. Frank is still tortured by what happened to his family. He's tortured about what his best friend became. Billy is tortured by this scary skull in his mind and now not understanding why his best friend is trying to kill him. Got all that playing at once. You have Madani, who wrestling with the fact that Billy tried to kill her, shot her in the head. And she wants vengeance, but she's wearing a badge. She's battling this. Amy has had to live with the fact that this information she knows about a certain character is why her friends are dead. And why this preacher-looking right-wing fundamentalist is going after her, trying to kill her with his militia or what have you. The fundamentalist, the Christian fundamentalist, he's got a broken background. You see at one point that there are former tattoos that have been removed. And he was something different. Now he's battling with having some issues with his family, wife in particular. There was lots of character depth in this series. It wasn't just a shoot 'em up, bang, bang, go get him, that's it. Which is great when it comes to Punisher. But you need to have those elements to give us a reason why we're going after these people. What drives Frank? Frank believes this is what he's meant to do. He believes he's simply a weapon. He's not someone who can go have a family, live the good life up in the hills with the white picket fence, what have you. Frank doesn't believe he can have that. Frank believes that this skull is what he is. This is what he's meant to be, nothing more. That he can't have anything else. Because when he tries to have anything else, the person he cares about, or the people he cares about, end up taking the fall. Let me check out the little chat discussions here. Oh, there's no, I can't remember. Yes, exactly. Billy knows that he's being told he did some bad things. He just doesn't remember doing it. And when he finds out that he killed Frank's family, he initially doesn't believe he did it. He can't believe he did it. And then, the way his mind works, he still thinks that it was, there was no honor in what Frank did as a result of what Billy did to him. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Billy. You're lucky Frank let you live. But other than that, I'd have done the exact same stuff. I'm not going to lie. If that happened to me, and I found Billy, and I was in Frank's shoes, oh yeah, same exact thing. Face across the glass. Beautiful. Whether I let him live or not, I don't know about that one. But that's what I loved so much about both seasons of The Punisher, is that it wasn't just action. You have these underlying elements that are fueling our characters. Exactly. It was as much his family as it was Frank. Also, the father-daughter bond that develops between Frank and Amy. Now, of course, father-daughter in a Punisher sense, because you're not going to get a Full House Danny Tanner talking to DJ here. It's Frank Castle and Amy. But you get this connection with them when she asks about how old his daughter would be, that she'd be 15, and the things she'd be doing now, and how Frank reminisces on that. The way he teaches her things. He teaches her things in a roughneck style, but in a loving roughneck style. Like an old man from the 50s, minus the belt and all that. Ruru got bored watching Punisher. I was going to say there's a door, but I'm not going to say that. Enjoy the show. Keep watching me. I don't want you to leave me. There's the dynamic, though, that occurs, I believe it's episode 5 on, where he's teaching her. They're learning off of each other. They're joking around. They're getting angry with each other. He teaches her how to take a gun out of somebody's hand. He teaches her how to guard the place they're staying at. Of course, she's also a teenager, so she's going to be, rebellious in some cases. All leading to a point in the series at the very end where you see how much the two meant to each other. And right now, the one thing Frank cares about is protecting her. It's the one thing he cares about. And so I love their dynamic. I love the way they work together. Spoiler alert. Get ready for it. Spoiler alert. Toward the end of the season, we get a cameo from a Daredevil character. You know who it is because she was in the first season. Karen. Karen shows up. She's in there for about 1 or 2 episodes. 2 episodes. So it was nice to see Karen back. Karen helps. Karen does play a part. You can get a Matt Murdock name drop in there. Frank is the one who says it. So there's your 2 references of Daredevil. Oh, 3, because you lead detective Mahoney, who's involved in this season, was involved in Daredevil season 3. So we keep Mahoney in there too, since all these guys live in New York, because that's where heroes live, is New York, right? That's it. Everyone's in New York. You guys not bump into each other more often. So I enjoyed those dramatic aspects of it, the emotional aspects, the PTSD focus, the military brethren focus that is heavy throughout the Punisher series. I believe Frank to kill him would be a release. To let him live and suffer as Frank has to is the more of a punishment. True. Yeah, I agree. Now, we've got that drama in there. We've been focusing on the PTSD. what these guys have gone through, both in their military past and what they've gone through currently in this series. Let's talk about the action. Whew. They don't hold back at all in the Punisher series, and one of the reasons why I love it so much, and why it's so heavily TVMA, it's not heavy on the cussing. I don't even think you got one F word. Like, they hint toward an F word, but they never actually say it, I don't recall it. But the violence takes care of that. I'm going to point out some key favorite moments of mine. Of course, the bar in the first episode. The bathroom fight that spills into the bar, the entire bar. Ooh. John Bernthal embodying him so well. The sounds he makes while he's fighting. Those grunts. Ooh. He's like a gorilla. And it's beautiful. That adds to the intimidation, because you already know this guy is a trained killer. Now you deal with the fact that the more he's fighting, the more amped he gets, and the more sounds he starts making. Why are you not already in your car driving away? There's no shot. You have no shot. So the bar, fantastic scene. The way he tricks the militia, the Christian fundamentalist and his militia, at the hotel and then at the police small town precinct, the jailhouse. Outstanding. The hole in the wall in the apartment, in the hotel room, to fool them. The flanking he does when he's finally released and takes them out one by one. Oh, watch those moments over and over. Probably my favorite of all the action scenes in the series, I believe, is episode 5 or 6. I can't remember right now. The gym, the Russian gym, the weightlifting room with the Russian hired muscle. Oh. You already know, walking in there, if Frank is about to have a fight scene in a weight room, you can imagine right now what he could be using as weapons. That's exactly what he uses as weapons. I'm talking dumbbells. I'm talking barbells. I'm talking kettlebells. I'm talking plates. The plates you put on for the barbells. Oh my God. Like, literally, my emoji reactions was, huh? And lots of clapping. Oh, and it's that whole, it's that whole continuous thing of the bad guys thinking they've got the upper hand and that Frank has no shot, and you watch how their face changes as Frank shows that they actually have no shot, because like the henchman's the lead guy is watching as his muscle-bound henchmen are getting taken down, and you see his face go from to and then there's a barbell up against his neck. And the whole thing with, like, because Frank, to me, he's so used to being hit. He's so used to being punched. That one punch doesn't faze him anymore. You punch him once and he grunts and doesn't fall back. It takes like 4 hits for him to start showing something. But he's so numb to the pain that it just fires him up. The more he bleeds, the more enraged he gets. And I love it. Because that, he's taking the hits as his hand is looking for this like 15-pound plate to then smack against this guy's face repeatedly while he's looking at the other guy, asking the same question and continuing to punch. Again, when it's guys who deserve it, I'm all for it. And I will sit back and enjoy every second of it. So that scene was fantastic. The scene with Amy in the apartment building, when she finally has to do something that Frank taught her. While Frank's going up the stairs, taking out the henchmen that are in the way, and she does it. And the part I liked there was because she never wanted to kill anybody. And there's a point where she has no choice but to take a gun out of a guy's hand and shoot him in the chest. Oh yes, John's scene when he's confronted by his past group. Yes, it's a good scene as well. Excuse me, yeah, I'm sorry. Forgive me, I said David Lieberman earlier. Wrong character. Josh Stewart played John Pilgrim. John Pilgrim is the Christian fundamentalist. My correction. My apologies. Yes, John Pilgrim with his former, what I have to say was a neo-Nazi white supremacist crew, the way I saw the tattoos and the way they were looking. That scene was well filmed. That was a great film scene. But when Amy has to do what she was taught to do, and she pulls the trigger, and the guy's on the ground, screaming in agony, bleeding, and Frank comes over to console her, and she starts saying, I killed him. And he says, no, you didn't, you shot him. Frank turns and he shoots him. I killed him. As violent as that is, that was like a comforting moment for her. He did that to help her, because he saw how having a death on her conscience was affecting her. And which her one shot, the way she shot the guy was going to bleed to death. Where she shot him, he was going to bleed to death. But he wasn't dead yet. So Frank found a way to alleviate that stress off of her by simply saying, no, you just shot him. He turns, he shoots him and says, I killed him. That's kind of the father-daughter aspect there in the Punisher world. He alleviated his daughter's stress by taking it on for her. Because killing bad people to Frank means nothing. He doesn't think a day two about it. Or does he, as we get later on. So I liked that so much. When Frank gets set up, without batting an eye, yes. When Frank gets set up at Billy's hideout, but then gets out of it, and I always brought up the juxtaposition between Daredevil fight scenes and Frank Castle fight scenes. They both have these intense, well-filmed fight scenes. Whereas Daredevil brings violent but non-lethal force, Frank brings violent and non-lethal. And it was that moment where I'm like, oh my god, this is it. It's when Frank is fighting back at the guys who jumped him, and he's holding an assault rifle in his hand. And it's literally punch, block, boom, shooting the guy who's right there. And the guy is 2 feet away. So it's like, imagine a close quarter fight scene with multiple guys, and every occasion he's firing away at them right there, which is Punisher style. You're being true to the character. That's what he does. He doesn't care about killing bad. He doesn't care. So I thought it was funny how it would have been something Daredevil would have found a way to do without killing. Frank's like, no. They don't deserve living. They're done here. Yeah. Toward the end, there is a great setup that brings Frank down. I don't want to spoil that for you. I want you to see that. It's something that makes Frank believe he's then bad. The way they did that and the way they correct it, or we find the answer, is so well done, because there's a moment there where you're like, oh no, Frank's gone too far. But the way they play that is fantastic. Watch it for yourself. It's so well done. I want you to react the way I did when I saw it. Jackson. Yep. So I won't spoil that much. I will say, if you were to ask me which season I liked more, season 1 or season 2? Man, I thoroughly enjoyed season 2. I thoroughly did. I enjoyed it. Weaknesses here and there, of course. There were weaknesses here and there in character development in some characters. But I thoroughly enjoyed season 2. I think I still like season 1 a little more than season 2. Not because season 2 is bad in my opinion, but because season 1 was so high on the charts for me. I love that it was the more personal story for Frank. It was resolving the issue with his family, who was behind it. That finale was fantastic in the first season. So if I had to judge them, I would say season 1 better, but not that season 2 was bad. I thoroughly enjoyed season 2. I enjoyed every second of it. I could watch Johnny Bernthal play Frank Castle for the rest of his life if they let it happen, and I'd be a happy camper. Because whoever is the poor guy who has to play Punisher after John Bernthal, good luck, man. Good luck. Because to me, John Bernthal nails it perfectly. He is Frank Castle. He is Frank. Done. Amber Rose Rava as Dina Medina, fantastic. Ben Barnes as Billy Russo. Jason R. Moore as Curtis. Iban Mosbakrak as David. Floriana Lima as Krista Dumont, Josh Stewart as John Pilgrim, Georgia Wingham as Amy Bendix. They were all fantastic cast, in my opinion. They did a great job playing off of each other. I did forget one moment, the moment where Billy realizes that the scary skull belongs to Frank. It was the big shootout in New York when Frank and Curtis are chasing after Billy, trying to stop him before he does any more bad things. And they're in the middle of the street, and Frank calls him out. Russo! That yell, Russo! Takes off his jacket and shows the skull, and Billy just has a meltdown in the middle of the street because he's putting two and two together. The scary skull belongs to his best friend, and he's just breaking down in the middle of the street. I love every second of that scene because it shows how frightened Billy is of the Punisher skull. And just frightened, and just Frank's yell, Russo! Oh my God. So, had to throw that part in there. I forgot about that part. So, as Ruru asks, the question is, will there be another Punisher once Disney gets all the rights back? You know, I don't know. I went into this knowing full well that within the over-under being 2 weeks, that Netflix would announce that they're canceling Punisher. So I'm expecting it now. Like, I was upset with Luke Cage and Iron Fist going away. Granted, we all know Iron Fist was the weakness in the Marvel shows. I did think Season 2 was better than Season 1 for Iron Fist, but they didn't. And then when they took out Luke, I'm like, come on, Luke Cage was a good series. I really enjoyed both seasons of Luke Cage. I like the style of it. Mike Coulter's, they did great on casting for these characters. Mike Coulter was great as Luke Cage. I was upset about that. I was heartbroken at Daredevil. Especially with news coming out that Daredevil was the highest rated hero series last year, like 83% of Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, that's what you cancel. You cancel that. Good job. So now with Frank, with Punisher, I'm like waiting for it. I'm waiting for the report. I'm just waiting for the tweet that says Punisher's canceled. I don't want it to happen. I don't want it to. I want there to be more Punisher. But the way it's looking, probably going to be the same thing as the other three. So I'm waiting for it. I don't want it to happen, but I won't be surprised. I'll be upset. I won't be surprised. I think they'll wait till Jessica Jones Season 3 to come out before they announce the cancellation of all their Marvel shows. They might do that. That's a possibility. And I like Jessica Jones too. So, I mean, they're cutting off some good shows. I disagree with whoever is behind it, whether it's Netflix, whether it's Marvel. I know Marvel TV and Marvel film don't get along, which is... I can't say the word because my kids will call me out on saying it. It's unintelligent, because for as much as I enjoy the MCU and their movies and everything, I enjoy the grounded storytelling that the Marvel TV shows had. I liked their more centralized, we're fighting what's happening here in New York underground, not what's flying in from Asgard. No knock on the Marvel movies. I love the Marvel movies. I grew a Tony Stark goatee because of the Infinity War movie. I still like the TV shows for being more grounded, so that's what upsets me about it. So, you know, they'll probably wait till Jessica Jones comes out and then cancel both at the same time. I hope they don't. I hope there's a way they save it. The guys who wrote Season 2 of Punisher have said that if they get a Season 3, they want to incorporate Daredevil and Kingpin, which would be cool since Punisher was introduced in Daredevil Season 2. To have him bring Daredevil and Kingpin into Season 3 of his show, that'd be cool. I'd love to see Murdoch and Castle team up again. That'd be great. Especially since my buddy Jay, former Marine... Oh, no, excuse me, you're never a former Marine, you're always a Marine. Jay, who is a Marine, I call him Frank, he calls me Red. So we kind of have our own little Murdoch Castle thing going back and forth. He is a huge Punisher fan. Jay, if you see this episode, this is for you. Hope you enjoy it, since you and I text and chat about Punisher every time it's on. So this is for you, sir. Too much of the Kingpin overused villain. True, he is locked up, too, as of Daredevil Season 3. So maybe Daredevil and Frank go after a different villain. Different type of thing. What have you. So, with that said, as you can hear in the background, the boys are getting anxious. One is standing up, reenacting the movie he's watching. So, I'm going to have to cut things off because you guys are probably tired of hearing his sound effects in the background because he doesn't stop. Because he's like me when I was a kid. So, with that said, that has been Sunday Coffee with the Azorean One. This was our Punisher episode. Thoroughly enjoyed Season 2 of Punisher. If you haven't seen it, see it now. Finish it up. Enjoy the cast. John Bernthal, Punisher for life. You are my Frank Castle, sir, to the end of time. I am the Azorean One Anthony Esteves of the Capeless Crusaders, and you can catch everything regarding the Capeless Crusaders on thecapelesscrusaders.com. There you'll find everything regarding news, blogs, our episodes, our live events, all that. Plus, you'll know when our shows take place. Yes, our shows, plural. Our flagship show, the Capeless Crusaders. Dame Patrol, the Dame Patrol in full effect. Crossover. And of course, Sunday Coffee with the Azorean One right here. So, again, our sponsors. I gotta get everything in there. I gotta get everything in here. My shows are getting longer every time. It's crazy. Our sponsors, Beard Balm Brush. Take care of whatever it is that's growing on your face. Make it look nice and pretty and smell nice as well. Beard Balm Brush. Use the promo code CAPELESS. 15% off of your purchase when you use the promo code CAPELESS. Critical Dice. Need some new dice, some shiny dice, some wooden dice, a plate of some sort to roll your dice on. Critical Dice is where you go. 15% off of your purchase when you use the promo code CAPELESS. And of course, our home base, Empire's Comics Vault in Sacramento, California, located at 1152 Fulton Avenue, Suite K. Whew. Hope I got the address right.
Is it like a cruise?
I know, little cruise Coco's on. So, on behalf of the Capeless Crusaders, on behalf of Jay Lopez, who is a Punisher. Yes, sir. Okay, wait, yes. On behalf of Jay Lopez, Marine, my friend, who loves the Punisher series and will talk Punisher with me day in, day out. Sergeant Squiggles, thanks for showing up. I'm saying goodbye. Thank you. It's for you, Jay. Enjoy this episode. Enjoy the Punisher Season 2. Enjoy it for as long as we have it, with whatever Netflix and Marvel decide. Besides that, have a great Sunday. There will not be a Capeless Crusaders episode tomorrow night. Heads up. We have some family things going on tomorrow night, so there will not be a Capeless Crusaders episode tomorrow night. So heads up. Don't worry about tuning in tomorrow night. Watch Monday Night Raw instead, or whatever it is you want to watch on Mondays. Catch up on a million little things, or This Is Us. I may be talking about myself. No Capeless Crusader episode tomorrow night, so don't worry about tuning in. We'll see you next Monday. Same Capeless time, same Capeless channel. Worked that out pretty well, I thought. So, hey, it's 9:25 on the West Coast. Go have a great Sunday. It's sunny here in California. Well, on this part of California. Enjoy. Have a great time. My finger's in the way because I'm going to hit the end button, okay? Have a great Sunday. Take care. And remember, enjoy your coffee.